Next run, straight into it, we've got Vojtas with Yakuza 4. Let's take it straight away.
Hello everyone, and welcome to Yakuza 4. I'm joined here by Seafood, and hopefully this is gonna make a good run out of this. Alright, can we start like right away? Like give a countdown? Oh yeah, go for it. Alright, so Yakuza 4 is like one of the two Yakuza games where they introduced multiple. Well, actually, one of the three Yakuza games where they introduced multiple characters. If we don't count the recent installment, the Like a Dragon. And we're gonna be starting off with Akiyama, one of my probably favorite characters in the series. The lonely, what's it called? Landlord? Well, he lends people money. And the way he got to that position is by the events of the first game, where Millennium Tower went boom, and he just picked up a lot of money on the street, and that's how he got rich. I need to do something real quick. Yeah, he was homeless before. That's how you get rich in Japan, apparently. Anyway, we're gonna do a bit of shopping. The main reason for the alcohol is Akiyama has a skill where he does more damage when he's drunk. So we're gonna abuse that. And the one tower inner is for the heat action right at the start of this tutorial fight. So in Yakuza 4, usually in tutorial fights in the other Yakuza games you have to do what the game tells you to do. In Yakuza 4 you can just skip and beat the guys up. That's how you finish the thing. Anyway, I'm gonna discard these two items, which is from having the other games installed. So a little bit of time loss, but whatever. And what I wanna do is pick up this bike and beat them with it. Hopefully gonna have the heat action on this guy, but apparently not. I guess you it is then. I'm gonna wait for a bit. Alright, now it looks good. Sorry about that. Apparently my internet does a funny thing where it just straight up kills it for like a few seconds. But it's fine after that for whatever reason. Yeah, it's 11 AM. Alright, this is the second tutorial fight, and we're gonna punch them with a sign to get heat. And then get them on the ground with this tree. And use the heat action which should kill them, but apparently I can't get the heat action prompt for whatever reason. And I think I remember why, because I didn't do my level ups. So we're gonna do that now. Wait, this one, Bruiser Summoner. Oh, we are starting pretty good. We are on a great start, honestly, so far.
And
Okay, sorry about that because you were muted on the stream as well. That's cool.
wholesome.
Like I said, off to a good start.
Wholesome, yeah. All right, I think we're real. We're really real. So, yeah, all I had said was the main point of interest in the run is going to be all these fights, and you know, hoping they go right, because everything in the overworld is pretty standard. Just go straight, get to the destination. Not really too much to look at there, but as far as like overall run optimization, like routing and all that, like there could be some improvements, but I think they're pretty down packed. But anyways, we're fighting the first real guy.
Yeah.
It's not a tutorial.
Yeah, this is like a first boss, let's say. And all these bosses have like a mid-fight QT, they call it Feel the Heat. And we don't really want to see Feel the Heat as it's slow and it doesn't do that much damage. You also have like a mid-fight cutscene with that. So we want to avoid that. And the way to avoid that is to keep them grounded as long as possible. So there are also voiced cutscenes in this. Usually it's a phone call or something like that. And the fastest way to skip through these is just mashing two buttons. So. Shoutouts to mashing enjoyers.
Yeah, there are two types of cutscenes. There are the ones with text boxes where you have to mash, and then there's the one where the text is baked into the screen, and those ones you can skip. That's pretty much standard across the whole thing.
In the new engine they actually made a lot of cutscenes skippable with just start and the confirmation prompt, which is way better, but still a game like a Yakuza Like a Dragon or Yakuza 7 is still 4 hours long. So. As a speedrun. Like that game casual is long, really long.
This whole series is pretty long.
Yeah, and most of the games are long.
Especially the more side content you do. Anyways, so we went to go collect a debt or whatever, and then we heard something, and we ran back.
where we find a dead guy like in front of our office. So they interview us on the police station. And now we're gonna do the little bit of shopping, because Yakuza 4 is, speedrun wise, is the bet simulator. So we're gonna buy some bets.
Yep, we're gonna emulate one of the best fighting stances in the entire series, and we're just gonna pretend we're Majima.
Yeah. So I drink that beer for space in inventory, so I can buy more bets. 17 bets. Okay. You're gonna see in a bit why this is like the strongest way to go through the fights, because it has a special move with bats you can do that do a lot of damage. It takes 10 charges of the equipment, so you can usually only do it like twice with each bat. It's really strong. You're gonna see that in a bit. The other thing when moving through this overworld is avoiding fight spawns. You can also notice I'm looking at the ground, and that's just to despawn civilians. I believe only in Yakuza 3, 4 and a little bit in 5 it works. It doesn't work in any other game. Probably because of the engine used.
That's neat.
Yeah.
So here we have someone that in the game we're she's coming in for a loan, and we're pretty much putting her through the ringer. We're gonna be like, here, go do this, go do that.
Yeah, because she finds us, she wants to obviously. I believe it's like 3 million yen or something like that, or 10 million even. It's not like a small amount. And the way Akiyama gives the lands is by proving to him that you earn it. So he gives like these small tasks that you have to do to basically prove your worth or whatever.
Yeah, bro has like a weird hard-working fetish of some sorts. Like, he just loves watching people grind.
Oh yeah.
You know, like, he could just give out this money for free, but like he wants people to actually like put in the same kind of effort he did back when he was, you know, pouncing on the stock market. Which is really cool. His character, like the loans he gives out, 0 interest and 0 no due date. Or there might be a due date, but there's 0 interest and unlimited terms. And so that's why everyone comes to him. And he only accepts the people that actually pass whatever challenge he comes up with.
Yeah, so there is a fight coming up, and we're gonna see the bats in action finally. Also, one small fact, on the PC version there is a confirmation prompt for every cutscene you skip. On the console remasters they released before the PC version, you can just press the start or the option button and it just skips them. Yeah, maybe I should equip the bats. This guy likes to grab a lot. Oh yeah, this is the move I was talking about. You're gonna...
Yep.
Nope. Nope. Preferably I wanna grab this guy and... Oh, we are kinda far away from the railing here, but you can just yeet him out of this rooftop.
I love eating guys off of rooftops. We won't see it because I don't think this is ever a plot point in the main story, but there are side stories. There's sub-stories where you have to stop someone from jumping off a building, and sometimes they just get violent and start attacking you. And then you can just yeet them off the building.
Yeah, I believe
It's so goofy, I love it.
Yeah, that's Tanimura's side case or something like that. And he's basically a cop trying to persuade someone to not jump from the rooftop by fighting him and yeeting him off the rooftop. Alright, this is something like a chase sequence. We just have to escape from them. The fastest way to do that is actually utilizing something I didn't do, which is dashes, but dashes are really hard to pull off, and I'm only gonna try for that in one specific instance. So the second fastest way is just jumping through. I honestly don't know what this cutscene is about. it's like a man talk on the bathroom, on the toilet.
Shoutouts to Kiwami too for having a pissing minigame.
Oh yeah. And now the plot twist. There was a guy in the bathroom all along. That's Sugiuchi, and we're gonna see him more later. So now we are just saving a lady from these harassers, I guess. And I don't hit him, which sucks. You don't really want to use the heat action with the bat, but that's fine, that's whatever. You actually never want to use the heat actions, unless it's like on the ground heat action, which actually does a lot of damage. And it's pretty fast. And in the other games, like starting from Yakuza 5, you can actually even cancel the heat action by holding the left trigger. But they don't have that in the Yakuza 4 and Yakuza 3. Or the original games on the PS2. So this guy stole our wallet, I believe. But it's supposed to like teach you about the chasing sequences.
Yeah, it's like I believe this was introduced in 3, but like it got a lot more in depth in 4, which is pretty cool. Like you can throw bottles at people now. Not that we do that in the speed run.
Oh,
but
we're actually gonna do that later.
Oh, let's go. So yeah, Akiyama is meeting with this with Saigo, who is going to be his personal trainer, where you can get some cool power-up and level ups, but doing any of this would be very slow and a giant waste of time. So
yeah,
we're just gonna ignore him.
His trainings are actually quite crazy as well. He's just like, man, I'm gonna shoot on you with this SMG, and you have to survive that.
Yeah.
I believe in Yakuza 5 they even got more extreme with that, and you have like... There's like one chase sequence in that, or chase training, and you have to dodge... that's a cool undodgeable fight spawn, love that. Anyway, you have to dodge rockets, like from straight up rocket launcher. Just a cutie, that's fine. So this is an optional fight that I would rather not fight, but... yeah. I'm gonna try to not use the bats really, because we're gonna need like all of them anyway.
Yeah, they are like all accounted for in actual required story fights, so
So the only good thing that can come up out of this is if he gives me money, which actually did. That's cool. I believe you can take like one more tax with that, but I'm not 100% sure whether.
and now the cops are posted up outside his place.
This is the
And look,
guy
it's the
from
guy.
the toilet. Yay. I believe the talk was about something with like the murder connection and everything, as he's like the prime suspect. But they don't really have like definitive proof on him, so.
Now it's time to carry out Lily's test.
Yeah. This is trying to introduce a minigame, like a cabaret club minigame, which isn't really
Yeah.
good in the Yakuza 3 and Yakuza 4. Way better in Yakuza 0 and Yakuza 5. Kiwami 2.
I'm not a fan of the Cabaret Club in like any existence. They're all pretty bad.
Oh, that's fair. I just said it's better in... it's better later, in the later games.
I mean, it's more engaging for sure. But yeah, this doesn't cost money. This costs official money from the business instead of his own personal funds. So he just gets an expensive dress that would normally be like 6 digits or 5 digits for free, and then you come in here and get a necklace for the same thing.
Mm-hmm. You can actually choose which necklace, but I'm just gonna go for the first one because it's like less menuing.
Menuing memes. We love menuing memes.
Yeah, so now we have to go to the club and Lily is gonna meet us there or something like that. You can go in a specific direction because you can see like these question marks. This is all sub-stories that we're gonna skip. Most of them are quite funny, I would say, but obviously it's the side stuff that we don't do in any percent speedrun.
It would be quite slow. And they're pretty inconsistent. Some of them will just activate by going near it, and other ones you have to actually talk to someone to activate. It makes no sense, but you know, whatever.
Yeah, some have area triggers and some it's just the guy you have to talk to. Especially this guy in front of the club is a area trigger that we wanna avoid.
Yeah. Oh yeah, it's so annoying. It's probably the only one that... It's probably... I don't know. There's probably others, but as far as I'm aware, this is the only one that people actually remember. Like, oh yeah, I need to specifically avoid, otherwise I gotta mash for another half a minute.
Yeah. I believe that's the actually only one we avoid. That's true.
Hence the giant arch we took there.
Yeah. And shoutouts to Kiwami 1 because like most of the sub-stories in that are scam based. So if you actually accidentally trigger something, then you lose money and you're pretty much... You can't even finish like the round because of how tight the cash is, so... Yeah, you have to remember that for sure. Anyway, Akiyama is trying teaching Lily how to be a hostess, which includes going on a date apparently. I don't know if a hostess thing is still like a big thing in Japan. It might be. No clue.
I mean, yeah, probably.
I mean, they still heavily advertise it in their games, even the new ones that come up, so I guess so. So you can see I'm like really far away from Lily, but that's fine. She's just gonna teleport once we get here.
So, the whole thing about Akiyama here is he's feeling nostalgic because homegirl here looks like an ex.
Yeah.
Because before he was homeless, he used to be a banker.
I'm gonna shoot this guy. Usually want to utilize the pistol more, but I haven't really seen where it is. Sometimes when you do the heat action, it just spawns on a like really random place. Or like the weapon that the enemy has drops on a random place. Alright, this was chapter 3. We're almost... You would say that each character has like 4 chapters. You would say like, we
No.
are almost done with Akiyama, right? No, the chapter 4 is like the length of all the 3 chapters before combined, so...
Oh yeah, no, they definitely make sure to let these be long enough that you could let yourself get distracted at some point without having to wait until the end of the game to be able to go back.
And this is one of the voiced cutscenes with the how he was a businessman before.
Yeah, unfortunately, because this isn't animated. And this is one of the exceptions to the baked into the actual cutscene. And here Hana is getting mad again. We love her.
Hana is always mad.
Yeah. She works for Akiyama, managing like all the bookkeeping and stuff. Akiyama does not really care about all that. He just wants to watch people work hard. But so back to Club Elise. So now we get to actually see what this whole minigame is about. So that's cool. You get to walk in a circle.
Yeah. I actually speedrun strats for this, because yeah, you have to walk like around the club before you can go back to the back and progress like the club thing, I guess, the time thing.
So now if you were doing something crazy like 100%, you'd actually have to pay attention, because you just see what the text is saying, and then like, okay, gotta go change your outfit real quick or train up her stats or something. But since we don't have to do that, we can just go out to the club and say fuck it, and then game thinks it's good, and the story still says, "Wow, you did so good. You made a lot of money."
Yeah, it doesn't really matter how well you did and doing this.
It just assumes you did your best.
Yeah. There isn't like... Even there isn't like that much you can do in this tutorial. At least I think so. Okay, good. Sometimes you can trigger... Sometimes like a cutscene triggers that she's like doing a bad job, but... It's a really rare thing in the tutorial. Never happened to me on the console before. And already happened twice on a, since I started running on PCs. I haven't really talked about it, but we use the PC version for one specific reason. It's not loads, because they are pretty much comparable with the PS4. But there's gonna be one small thread during one of the voiced cutscene sections. That's only doable on a PC. But we're gonna get to that later.
So, good old boy Akiyama likes to snoop, and basically decided to look into who this girl was because he saw a lighter she had, and oh my god, what is that? It's a dead guy.
He's dead. So what we want to do here is just look at the lighter and the jacket. You don't have to look at the blood. Preferably you don't want to look at the blood. But the trigger for that is really long, like white. When I was leaving, you could see that I had examine in the top right corner, which would look at the blood. By the way, one small fun fact, the model used for the dead guy is a zombie from the Yakuza Dead Souls.
I think that just means that the zombies came from that guy. Because Dead Souls came next. I don't know, this is the remastered version. They made some changes. Like the model for Tanimura. We'll get to that later. If I remember.
Yeah.
I won't.
So that was our first use of fast travel, which is done by using taxis. In the Dragon engine, they actually put a lot of like places where you can taxi to. In these old engine games, you can only taxi to the taxi spot.
This was quite unfortunate.
Yeah.
Hey, here's our boy Mac. I fucking love this guy.
Yeah.
He's gonna try and teach us about Revelations, but we're gonna promptly say, fuck that, I have shit to do.
Yeah.
Revelations are these cool heat actions that you can do during combat, but like I said, heat action slow, and doing this whole Revelation stuff kind of slow, so we're just gonna ignore it and leave. But no, the character of Mac is so cool. Bro just wants to come in and take sick pictures. That's it. Boy is a sick photographer.
Yeah. In Yakuza, he's also in Yakuza 3 and Yakuza 5, and in Yakuza 3 you actually have to do his revelation.
Oh yeah. I think he might introduce the chase sequence as well, and he's got like a pretty ridiculous one. Especially if you're playing on PS4. Fun fact about that game, and this game, and I think 5 as well. If you have there's a couple models of PS4 controller. If you have the first model of PS4 controller, that one works fine. There's no problem. But if you have a newer model and you try to move with the stick, it'll occasionally just hitch and stop, and you'll stop running and you'll be at a walk for like a microsecond, and that just keeps messing up the flow. It's actually very annoying.
Oh. Is it because of the like control version? That's interesting.
Yeah. I don't think this is a problem in the originals, just the remasters on PS4.
So I believe Kiddo got like kidnapped, so we are trying to save him. Okay, I can finish with him. I don't know if this fights my... Oh, it doesn't. So this homeless guy tries to attack us, and then we are like, man, I'm on your side. Chill a bit.
Yeah, another level up.
Yeah, like the only level up we did, I believe, for Akiyama is like at the start of this, like in the tutorial fight. We don't really do any other level ups after that.
And there's our first example of optional guys that we don't actually have to beat up.
But they are
That comes
really
from these.
rabid. Like,
Comes from these little dungeon sequences, for lack of a better word.
okay.
So yeah, there's some areas where they're just there and you just need to get to the next spot, trigger a cutscene, and they'll all despawn and you'll just fight a new wave.
So that door is locked. Oh my god, what happened? What the? What? Did he? Oh my. He grabbed him in the cutscene, like. So that animator just teleported straight up with him. That's funny. Alright then. Okay, missed that.
Yeah, if you hit the bat on a wall, it counts. It's kind of annoying. If you don't actually hit anything, then I'm pretty sure it's fine and the durability stays, but yeah, if you touch like anything, then it's like, oops. Bye durability.
So I wanted to say before that TP happens is we need a lockpicker, someone who knows how to lock them, so he can open the door for us. And now we have to fight like every single guy because he's too scared to get out. I could have probably just light punched this one, but that's fine. This next room can go pretty quickly if we just line them up.
And that's the goal here. Get as many people lined up so you can get as many hits in.
Sadly, this guy walked too far to the left. So this also introduced like one side character.
Yep, here's Minamita. He's cool. He's pretty much Doc Brown. He made a VR machine. That giant pod is a VR machine. Yeah. And then basically he takes data from your memories and creates scenarios for you to fight in, which is literally just previous boss fights from this game and a couple from Kiryu's already previously existing fights that happened in 3. Or that happened by 3, and yeah.
So this guy always shoots. It's just impossible to dodge in my opinion. Okay. Oh my god. He also likes to block a lot apparently. Cool. What the hell?
This guy becomes a lot better when he doesn't have a gun.
Can you not? You can see that sometimes fights just go this way. Not much I can do about that.
Bro stops trying to use a gun, runs away. Some other guys come in that you gotta take out instead. And then bro's gonna come back in with like an axe, I believe. Since he dropped his gun, we're gonna use it though until that's out of ammo.
I probably didn't want to use the heat, but he's back with a
Oh
chainsaw.
no, it's a chainsaw. It wasn't an axe. It was some kind of tool. I don't know.
So this is the field of heat that we can't actually escape, so...
His bro just wants to aggro and
What the-
attack.
Oh my god. Obviously, Yakuza 4. Yakuza 4
Hey, you
has
learned a
one
heat
of,
action.
Yeah, Yakuza 4 has one of the things where if you do heat action repeatedly, you actually learn like the second part of it or something like that. Which is something we don't really want to see in a speedrun, but there we go. So yeah, we rescued Kiddo, and now we go back to the office. That fast forwards us to the next day, which is gonna be again the Cabaret Club. Then we go back to the office again. And then they call us that like Lily made enough cells so we can give her the money or something like that. So a lot of walking right now. And then a cool boss fight. Now is definitely a great time to have a dono train for sure. There isn't much to do or talk about, actually.
That's what I'm saying, a dono train? Yo. If we got just like... We had like 21 people come through with $5 each. Smile?
So in the cabaret they actually teach you that you can actually also train the hostess, which we're not gonna do, so...
Yeah, you can do things, but we're gonna ignore it.
So this time she actually is gonna be just sitting at the bar, having like no customers at all. But still made enough sale, obviously. If only real life worked like that.
And finally, we get to leave Elise again.
And like I mentioned before, going back to the office. That's a fight spot, I believe, so yeah. We're gonna go this way this time then.
Yeah, so now you're learning that she made a lot of money despite you doing absolutely nothing to train her.
She has a natural talent for that.
So now you're gonna bring her the money. You've got the money, it's in the briefcase, and now you get to be one of 2 characters that walk around with this briefcase.
Actually having the briefcase makes it so no fight spawn. So this is a Millennium Tower, a really famous landmark in the Yakuza series. There's always, and I mean always, a big fight on this building.
Yep, and here's Akiyama explaining his entire fetish.
Yeah.
Pretty much, at least half of his sub-stories are giving loans to people, and so he's giving them tests. I know there's one guy that you're supposed to give him all 3 prompts. He goes and attempts it, fails, and then it fails all 3 attempts, and then you're like, okay, I have one more test, and you put him in charge of something else you own that's starting to go under, and you're gonna have to make the tough call to fire some people, to lay some people off, and it was just an ironic learning experience for the guy.
So Hana gets pissed on us because we landed the money. So she runs away.
He quits. Now we get to be very suspicious and chase after a grown woman in the middle of Kamurocho.
She's really fast, by the way.
Yep.
So I'm gonna try to
Oh yeah,
change
no,
these
she's
dashes
really
now.
fast.
So far good. It's good. And now it's stopped working. It's like
Yeah, you're
going
not
one direction
going
and
to
then,
actually.
going the
You're
opposite.
not actually designed to tackle her or anything. She just runs off to Children's Park, and then you just kind of get there.
Well, whatever. Like you could have seen, like chaining these dashes is really hard and inconsistent, and I'm not really sure how are you even supposed to pull that off on a controller alone. Like they teach you about how to do the dashes, but before I was actually like playing around and finding strats for the speedrun, I never actually used it casually.
But yeah, she still quit. She's still like, no, fuck you, fuck this. I gotta figure this out myself. I can't with you right now. And then Akiyama is sad.
Yeah.
There are some sub stories attached to her, but the cool thing is, you could go into the office and sit down in the chair and reminisce about her. So you can pretend she's still in the office, and then you can go do those side quests, those sub stories. Pretty cool. Anyways, back to Elise for one more final throwdown because someone's causing the
どうしても
scene.
お帰りいただけないようでしたら実力行使ということになりますね。よろしいですか。ほう。いい度胸しとる。
This guy, he's sick as fuck.
Yeah.
こっちも力ずくでも教えてもらう。
There is one funny ultimate fight with him where you have to pick up the microphones and get it away from him, and he's trying to pick them up.
Like, you could tell just by looking at him and by listening to him that he sounded like he was a Majima guy. And he is. It's pretty cool.
Ooh, that's bad.
So this fight is drunk versus drunk. It's pretty cool.
Oh.
We probably won't see it, but me and me will drink the alcohol, and then he also has a lighter on him, so like he actually just spits out fire. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, I believe that's also like a cutscene or something where he does that.
And there's Akiyama done. We won't see him again until the
Finale.
yeah.
Well,
So the finale.
well, we will actually see him for a bit in like the Tanimura part and like the other characters.
Well, yeah, but we won't be playing as him. So now we're gonna go to prison. Remember when I didn't say that this whole game was in Kamurocho after 2 and 3 decided to introduce another city, and I was playing those as well? Yeah, no, I thought of saying that, but yeah, no, you go to prison. We're playing as Saejima. We're gonna break out of prison. Bro's been in here for the last 30 years at this point?
Nah, something like that.
Yeah. Got arrested. Yeah, obviously took the fall back in the 80s, and it's like 2010-ish, around there. But yeah. His fighting style, very different, very bulky, basically has power armor as he's charging his follow-up attack. which is pretty cool. As long as the enemy is not guarding and is in range, you will basically do a lot of heavy damage. Still not as optimal as bats.
Yeah, but we're gonna see
But
a bit from his fighting style because we can't get bats right now in the prison.
yeah, we can't buy baseball bats in prison. What do you think this is? So we get to see a game plan. Here's this guy from the previous game that is like, hey, let's work together and break out of here because we're both Tojo. And that's pretty much his entire reason. He's like, well, we're both Tojo, and there's some important shit I think we need to figure out because it's with the it's with the 10 billion yen from the first game and something to do with the hit that you did. Yeah. Anyways, here's Kamiyama. He's in prison as well. You might be wondering why, but he sells weapons. He's a weapons dealer. Of course he's in prison.
Yeah.
So here's Saijima's entire thing. We're just gonna run around and we're gonna talk to prisoners. Some of them are gonna be like, hey yo, square up. And you got a minute to take them out before the guards show up. Not that you need a minute.
Yeah, we haven't really talked about that, but most of these fights go really quickly just because we are playing on the easiest difficulty.
Anyway, so this guy is like, hey, I need this thing and I need that thing and I need that other thing, and we're making a grappling hook.
Yeah, and this guy doesn't want to lend us the hoe that we need until we bring him a cigarette. And once we bring him the cigarette, he actually asks for a lighter as well, so he's kinda annoying. But we are like, yeah, we're gonna do all this fetch quest for him, and then he's just gonna give us the hoe, right? Oh. Not exactly. So lighter is right here for whatever reason.
Yep, and you'd have to talk to the guys to get to the other side, and that's not at all suspicious.
Mm-hmm. Oh, the famous quote. No, let's have that hoe. But they're like, nope, we're not gonna just give it to you, lol, even though you did all this thing for us. So we're gonna fight them again. Preferably if this guy didn't get down, but that's fine.
So, but you'll definitely be seeing this one string, just regular attack, and then the first charge, heavy attack after that, because it goes straight down into the ground, and it's pretty good. No chance of accidentally doing a heat action. Smile. Anyways, we finally have everything. It's time to go talk to this guy again.
And hide the grappling
And
hook.
yep, just nonchalantly hide it right here where everyone's just watching.
So now's
That's not suspicious.
How's the plan execution? I'm gonna kill this guy to get a little level up, and I need this, and quick stand, And where it is, this thing. No. I'm gonna get that later, I guess. So a really good thing about this first strong attack is that we can keep the enemies grounded with it, as long as they don't get up. Oh, nice tackle, Saito. Saito is probably the worst boss in this game, and he's also there like a lot of times. So I'm gonna see him for a bit.
Yeah, he's not a big deal right now. But then, like, you steal his keys, and then bro gets an anime power-up. And he's like, no! I gotta protect the prison! And so you'll be out doing these later parts with these people. And then he will just show up out of nowhere and just start fighting you again. Also, for some reason, they have energy drinks all over the place now.
Yeah, we're gonna actually try to avoid them, so we have to do less menuing for later. These QTs, by the way, are always the same button prompt. So if you just remember, you can just mash it through. And that applies for all the QTs in this game. Besides the feel the heat, I believe. Like, that works kinda differently. Nice, he good.
Yeah, so now he has the baton that he's gonna try to beat the shit out of you with. We're still gonna just loop him, because we know how game works.
Yeah, fun fact, you can't really loop this easily on any other difficulty than easy. Oh, nice. I just went to like wherever Ant went. Well, time for some punching, intense action.
So this is the thing we were talking about earlier. We could have taken him out if bro did not actually stand up. Instead, we had to waste our time with all that.
I mean, it looks cool at least.
So, bro's already at work trying to find the shit. More guards come and you gotta go fight.
These are pretty easy compared to the boss fight before. Like, I obviously made the side of fight look pretty easy, but it's not. That fight is pretty painful, especially because you don't have like any level ups. So casually, that's a big pain.
Oh yeah. And now a sniper rifle is shooting at you.
I'm gonna do one last level up here. So yeah, we can just ignore all the enemies here. We just need to destroy the gates. Some of them has the flashbang grenade, exactly that. And a lot of them actually likes to grab. So. Yep. Just showed both of the things that can happen. Once you reach a certain point, our compo is just gonna knock this guy out. I have no idea how we actually got there and why we didn't follow him, and instead we went through the lots of enemies and the gates and whatever. More enemies.
And now a bunch of guys show up. As you can see, his attacks do have a pretty big area of effect.
I thought I had to press on the keypad, but apparently it's the door. Wow.
So we're gonna come out here, we're gonna get that grappling hook from earlier, and we're gonna try, but Saito comes up again, and
He likes to show stuff.
Saito is so tough, but hey, we have a gun.
Now we're gonna
so
try
there's
to
the
keep him
example of
grounded
power
again.
armor. If you're in the middle of charging up the follow-up heavy attacks, you just stand there and you take the hit and you don't fall down. It is pretty sick. Love that about Saejima.
This worked way better than the first time with him. And yay, we escaped the prison. And it's really funny where we're gonna end up.
Yeah, we're gonna end up washed up on the beach where Kiryu has been living with the orphanage. Thankfully, we get to skip the worst cutscene in the entire series.
For numerous reasons that we don't wanna tackle.
Anyways, Saijima's like, please, just if you could get me to Kamurocho, that would be omega helpful. And that's really all he says. He's not super in depth on talking about why or whatever. And then Kitty is like, no. And Saijima's, please, just some money.
Yeah. So we are still like not fully level up. You made it. You made it through that horrible prison part. Speaking casually.
Yeah.
And now you just fight Kiryu.
Yeah. Now you just get to fight Kiryu finally after.
Fully level
all
up
these
Kiryu
games.
with Tiger Drop, by the way.
Oh yeah. No, Kiryu has Tiger Drop. Kiryu has all his moves. Even though when we play as Kiryu, he's not gonna have any of that. But ignore that. Remember, Saejima was beaten halfway to death in that prison. He's got all these injuries he's recovering from, and muscle injuries and all this wear and tear. Bro's not at full working capacity.
Oh.
And he's taking on Kiryu. Just matching up, going toe to toe.
Like, we can do the same thing we did with Saito, but to keep him grounded. Nice.
So there you go. In the cutscene that follows this, it is canonically a tie. Saejima injured, ties with Kiryu at peak. So they've actually painted Saejima to be the strongest guy in the entire series.
Yeah. I believe they
It's really cool.
They kind of paint that Kiryu can't really lose. Like the best you can do is a die throughout the series.
Yeah.
Anyway, we finally got to Kamurocho. Yay. And we're gonna go into Popo shop to buy sake later for a homeless guy. And pick up a locker key for one item that sells for a lot. Like, locker keys are the... like the pickup items you can get from the lockers. And it usually contains valuable stuff.
Yeah, mostly cheat items. They give you insta-win things for all the gambling games, basically.
Yeah,
It's pretty cool.
I think they actually patched that out from the PC version. They don't have the gambling items here, or either it's the pachinko thing, because I don't think on PC you can play pachinko, and that was a thing on a console. Pachinko
But,
is,
you
by
know,
the way,
it doesn't-
a horrible minigame, and I still have no idea how to play through it.
You could get really good gear, or just something that's very expensive, and that's about the only use it has.
So we are trying to find our old family patriarch, Sasai.
Yeah, we're trying to find information.
Yeah.
And anyone that's been around Kamurocho knows that the homeless people know everything.
So we're gonna go to the champion district and we're gonna fight, find, not fight, Kido. Which I still have no clue how the story related is the connection, made in this.
Bro just overheard something about a Yakuza family, and Kito's like, nope, I'm out of here.
Yeah, and then they become best friends for whatever reason. Once we catch him, though. So this Kido chase is a pain in the ass. He also trips on this bike. He didn't do it this time. That's funny. Never happened before. Oh my god. So we have... going this way. And taking the bottle with him, apparently. Okay. So why it's a pain is because he goes, once we do enough damage, he goes into this phase where he just runs to a certain point, and the point is kind of random. Okay, I missed the bottle, whatever. I want to throw the battle at him so he starts a little, earlier running. Are you kidding me? Okay, interesting. Usually he does the Super Saiyan thing 2 times, but he did it only once. Can't really say it was a good chase though.
And then Tito finally realizes that this is the legendary guy that did a hit on 18 people once. Except spoiler alert, he didn't.
And it's like the funniest
still
reason why
did
he
it.
did it.
He still did the actions, but they were rubber bullets, so no one actually died, and someone else really killed everyone.
Yeah. Like, it's a running joke in the Yakuza series that every pistol you have in the fights shoots rubber bullets. So you actually can't kill anyone.
And here, Saejima gets his own hideout where he can dump things and save and stuff.
Yeah, this is actually
No.
the place we were fighting before, the guy. Forgot his name though. Midorikawa, I believe. Yeah. There are cats here, by the way. Shoutouts to cats.
Yeah, so everyone has the same amount of sub-stories. 15 each. And yeah, Saejima's all happens in the last 2 chapters. But there becomes a problem after the 3rd chapter where cops show up and you have to navigate around them, so that's cool.
Nah. The sub-stories thing is even worse in Yakuza 5, as they, for whatever reason, thought it's a good idea to make the prison part like twice as long as in this game. And then they also added the hunting, which is also really long. So before you can actually free roam in Yakuza 5 as Saejima, it takes a lot of time. Anyway, this homeless guy is like, come here real quick, there is thugs beating up someone, please help us. You can actually choose to don't help him, but it's like, he just says, oh please help him, so you actually have to fight these guys, there's no way around it.
This old guy is senile and committed to the cause. Or committed to the bit, I don't know. He just keeps digging, trying to find gold or something. And these guys caught wind, and I think they wanted something, but there was nothing, and even if there was, that's not like that guy's gonna give it up.
Yeah, and this is like a move trainer for Saejima. And the way he learned the moves is by digging a hole. You like actually have to get a pickaxe and then like punch rocks, and that's like how you learn the new moves. So we have to ask one specific homeless person how to get out of here. Or more likely how to get to the the thing near the Child's Park, I forgot how is it called, the big area. Where the homeless lives. Well, anyway, there.
They actually have trash littered all over the place that you can pick up and collect. And that is currency you can use underground. The homeless people like recycling or something, I'm not sure.
Yeah, something like that. There's that one guy that just buys the trash from you.
But anyways, now that we are pretty much free from all the railroading there. Time to go buy some bats.
And we're gonna use the item that I picked up from the lockers to get enough money for the bats. Saejima doesn't really use like all 20 of the bats, but we're gonna need some extra for the finale. And Tanimura is really, like, he's really tight on the bats. So. So we're gonna go here, interrupt the guy on the toilet, and try the door behind it, because there's supposed to be a pathway to the park behind that. But it doesn't work. So we have to ask some people around the city if they know how to get to the florist. Which is this guy, and he's gonna be like, but you promised not to tell anyone, right? And we are like, yeah, pinky promise. And then he tells us. You can actually choose like no promises, and he's like, well, I'm not gonna tell you then. Like, for this fight, the guy in the red jacket is probably the worst one. We're gonna try to hit him with the bat, hopefully. Are you kidding me? So that guy tells us we have to go to the sewers, which is here. And Saejima is like the only character that can pick up the sewer slit.
Yeah.
Because he's strong.
Yeah, it's shown. If you try to go up to those with any other character, they're like, oh, I can't do this. This is too heavy. Once again, including Kiryu, which is showing that Saejima is canonically the strongest person in the entire series.
Yeah. Like later in the story, I think that's like maybe even the last chapter. Kiryu gets like a way to open these manholes, but
Yeah. At some point, every character, well, specifically Kiryu, who needs to get down there, is given a jack to open them. And then once you get to the finale or premium adventure, and it'll flash up there and says, hey, you also have a jack for this character. So all of them can go underground. Anyways, we're meeting with the florist to get information, and the florist does what the florist does and says, here, fight for me in the Coliseum. And then, yeah,
we can't use bats here because it's a fist fight.
So you're told that this is a fight to the death, and if you want your if you want the information, you need to actually kill your opponent. Flores does this to everyone because he gets some sort of sick pleasure from it. Because afterwards, Saejima's gonna be like, no, actually, killing is bad because reliving a traumatic moment because he carried out that hit on orders. And this isn't on orders, so he's like, no. And he called the entire audience sick for begging for that. And then here comes the florist saying, hold up, wait. You did the right thing. That was actually a test, you see, because I'm sick and like making people go through that moral choice.
So yeah, this is like our old patriarch. I believe he's blind or something, like blind and homo.
Yeah.
And we didn't really say it before, but Saejima is basically a sworn brother of Majima. Like the Yakuza brother.
Yep. There's a reason for the naming.
Now this guy pops up, which introduced like the whole fighting dojo thing where you can train people. Because he's like not really good at it. He opened a dojo, he's not really good at it, and he's like, please help me. We actually have to follow him. There's no way around that, but then we're gonna decline because this would start a whole explanation how to do this.
Yeah, but since you came inside, he's like, oh, well, surely you'll come back.
Yeah.
Surely. So we're gonna get back to the underneath the Millennium Tower, but we need to navigate around the city with cops posted up everywhere.
Yeah, there is like a theoretical skip you can do on some of these places, where if like enough pedestrian spawns, they can push the cop, which makes the area that they were blocking like move far to the left or right, and then you can actually go on one of the corners there to go past them. But it's a lot of RNG heavy, and yeah.
And that's Kamiyama again, who somehow broke out of prison alongside you.
And he opened a weapon shop up there. And he's like, hey man, I opened a weapon shop. Come find me.
So yeah, basically, the cops aren't posted up on the rooftops and underground. Not sure why, it doesn't make a whole lot of sense. Also...
By the way, funny thing, if you get Golf up, you have to do all this walking again, so preferably we would like to not do that. There's gonna be one cop that actually can cause a problem, but...
Can you believe I'm crazy enough that I did this without the minimap?
like this.
Yeah.
Nice.
And that was casually. I'm sure you know probably by heart already where you're supposed to go. Yeah, there's another sewer down over here.
I believe this place is also accessible only in Dead Souls in Yakuza 4.
Yeah.
In no other game you can go here.
Yeah, this take us right underneath, right to the back of the Millennium Tower. Or we can now navigate around, because there are a lot of cops around Millennium Tower, just conveniently, not along this strip. Yay, we made it!
You made it, and Minami
And
is like...
here's...
Minami is like,
Yeah.
Majima wants to meet you. At the Millennium Tower tonight, or tomorrow night, perhaps.
Yep.
So the game gives you like option, if there's anything else you want to do, you should probably do that now, but the only thing I really want to do is go to the Millennium Tower, so we're gonna go back, talk to Kiddo, and rest up for the night. And now it's gonna be the same avoiding cops thing as earlier. But this time without music.
Yeah, we're just gonna go halfway the other direction. Because instead, even though we're right underneath, even though we're right underneath the Millennium Tower, we need to be at the front of the Millennium Tower. And like I said, there's cops posted all around the Millennium Tower, just not this back road or the front road, but the two sides. I'd love to see it. At least on the bright side, once you get to Premium Adventure, the cops are no longer there, which is pretty cool.
Yeah. I think I was definitely saving like finishing sub-stories for that. As the cops were annoying to deal with.
Oh yeah. Actually, I think they might also lighten up after, once you get to the finale. I could be wrong.
Shoutouts to the red wing on the... whatever that is, pipes. It looks so like PS3 model. Or
Now
even
that's the more
PS3.
areas they reused in Dead Souls.
Oh yeah. They also reused this in Yakuza 5. It's supposed to be like a fight here. The intense looking at the Millennium Tower. And now we can just go inside and see it is a... not a trap, a test. Test to show if Saejima is strong enough to meet Majima, I guess. So everyone's just gonna fight him. And I'm gonna try to look like the opposite way, because the enemy's gonna spawn the way I'm not looking at. So they should spawn in this corner like that, yeah. I thought I'm gonna do the dash triangle attack, but no. So that was the first wave out of like 3 of them. So it's like 1 hit. Alright, this is the last 3 guys before for the big boss. So we are fighting Minami again. Yep. Preferably if he didn't do that. Sure. Ah. Thought I'm gonna do the heat action. So. Oh, there goes the flame. We were talking about before. So we beat up Minami and now it's the best, one of the best fights with Majima in my opinion.
安心したわ。まだ体はダブついてないよや。
25年間無所で毎日鍛えられとったわ。のうのうと暮らしとったお前とは違う。
それじゃ、こっちも手加減なしで行かせてもらうぜ。
望むところへ。
行くでー。兄弟！
He likes to do that dagger attack, and then he likes to block a lot for whatever reason. This mess. Yeah, this is faster to just straight up fail. So. Ah. Okay. Not that bad, I guess. Okay, Majima. Rather bad fight. You can definitely skip both of these mid-fight QTs that we just saw. I believe there are also 3 of them, so we at least skipped 1 of them. That's cool. Anyway, that was Saejima.
And then we get a backstory because Majima couldn't just be honest first. You know. But that's just how these two are. Majima's a fighter at heart. He wanted to fight anyways.
Yeah, like Yakuza 5 starts up with Saejima going to prison again. And the end of the first chapter is like fighting Majima to prove that you won't die in the prison.
Yeah. Unfortunately, the Majima Saejima fight replaces Kiryu fighting Majima, which is quite unfortunate. But at least, and this is what I meant by Kiryu's data from Yakuza 3, Kiryu fighting Majima in the Coliseum is one of the ghost fights you can do, even though it didn't happen in this game. So you can fight Majima as Kiryu. Just an even more broken version of Majima. It's great. Anyways, here's Tanimura. He is sick as fuck. We're gonna be one of the few times ever that I think a character that is a cop is cool, but Tanimura gives no fucks.
Yeah, so you probably get why are we here to buy bet. But we're also gonna buy 2 fake silver plates for the guys at the Mahjong Parlor. They're like trying to get info on some guy. And these guys knows, but they don't want to talk to you until you pay up the debt you have with them, which is like 2 silver plates. But you can also just give them the fake silver plates. Like the way you should do it is probably win in Mahjong enough money to buy the silver plates. So we only have 9 bets with Tanimura, which is quite unfortunate, and we're gonna be a little bit tight on them. So hopefully a lot of these fights, especially in this chapter 1, a lot of these fights hopefully will go the way they should. Because the thing is, if we finish a fight before we finish swinging, the bed actually doesn't consume any equipment from it, instead of the 10 that it should. And all of these fights can be finished like that, so hopefully. Yeah, that should be fine.
Okay, more tutorial, but this time one of the guys is Mr. Catch Me If You Can. But he changed the leaf since his first appearance in earlier games. See, now he's trying to hit you. Also, I want to point this out. There is a rock paper scissors with the police. See, player characters can knock over civilians. Civilians will get moved around by player characters. Cops can get moved around by civilians. And then player characters can't do anything. The cops just stand there rigid in your way and they do not move. It's very interesting.
Yeah.
I don't know if anyone has ever noticed that while playing this before.
Anyway, these two fights went pretty good. So we still have like 13 charges on the bat. Anyway, you wanna point out the change in the model for Tamura?
Oh, yeah. So, pretty much everyone after the... Everyone's starting probably with the third game. They started doing motion capture and basing characters off of the real voice actor models. But the voice actor and model for Tanimura kind of got busted for doing drugs. And instead of having that attached to their image, they changed the look of the guy entirely. They might have changed the voice actor for this specific game too. I don't know. I could be wrong. But yeah, that's the thing.
Yeah, they did that as well in the Judgment game, which is a spin-off of the Yakuza series. I forgot what his name is though, but they changed one of the models there as well. And also because of the drugs.
Anyways,
I had to test that.
what is it? Oh yeah, you had to test that out. Yeah. One of the funny things about Tanimura is that he gets Spider-Man missions. He just listens to the police reports and then goes, "Oh, there's something happening over there. Guess I'll go check it out and do it." Meanwhile, Spider-Man's just trying to stop people. Tanimura takes it as a chance to shake people down. He will stop the crime, but where normally he would arrest them, if they just give him money, he'll be like, "Okay, you can go."
A lesson learned.
That's great.
No, don't let him to title screen. Right, yes. I'll try to finish this fight with the fists now, I think. It's preferable to not use more than one bat on this fight. Anyway, that was just Lily that we saw. I believe that's not even her real name because it's Yasuka. It's a sister from Saejima.
Yeah. She wanted that money to bail Saejima out.
So another instance where we don't have to kill everyone here. We just need to kill this guy in purple. That's pretty good. And now we don't have to fight anyone until the really last area. There are a lot of QTs that we want to hit. This is the ones that I actually don't remember, but like I mentioned before, they are still the same.
Wait. If bats are bats still optimal in Yakuza 5?
I don't think so. I think like a lot of equipments got nerfed in Yakuza 5 because you also have like the level ups from using the equipment and then you do more damage. I don't even think like guns are good in that game. Anyway, nice little strat. If I just spam R1, I can't fall down on this oil.
Cause I was gonna say, what are you doing, Shinada? Cause he can't hold a bat.
Like
That makes sense.
the rusty pipe is like really broken, plus the heat move. So preferably here we want to kill either the guy with a gun or a purple shirt. Oopsie daisy. That's bad. Especially if you're gonna guard that. Nice. There's another like feel the heat here that we wanted to skip. That's good.
Hey, here's the dive from the beginning of the game. He's back.
So these cutscenes at the start of this chapter are really annoying. They switch like between every type of the cutscenes we had before. It's one of these voiced ones, then it's like a regular text box cutscene skip. Then it's like again the voice line, and then it's like the one you can skip with option and left. Like pre-rendered cutscenes, I guess. I don't know why they did it like that. I'm free.
Time to get the money back.
Yeah, before we do that, there's gonna be a trainer for Tanimura here. And Korean agent, I believe.
Yeah, Tanimura can speak Japanese, Chinese, and Korean. He is multilingual.
Yeah, that's
His
also
characters. What?
that's also the reason why he can go to the little China, whatever it's Little Asia.
Little Asia.
Yeah,
Yeah. Tanimura's character is, like, at its core, he works for the police so he can deal with systemic racism in a way that he wouldn't be able to if he was not a cop. You know, so he's able to just kind of look over and look past, and like all of Little Asia, right? It's full of illegal immigrants in Japan. Like, none of them have documents. Some of them were forcibly brought over. I think most of them actually were. And instead of leaving them to the legal system that would treat them much worse, he gets them set up in there where they can all chill.
by the way, right now we are doing a sub-story that's unavoidable. We have to finish it. The reason is because I think that is missing, and like the trigger is like at the front of the restaurant where we have to go multiple times. So we're just gonna do it now. I don't think we're gonna finish the sub-story itself, but we're gonna progress it to the point that we can just move on.
That is a rubber duck here to you.
So the money is in this car.
How convenient that it's right next to the taxi.
Yeah. Usually, I think the only hint is like it's the black car in the central parking lot. And then you just go there and look for... Like, there are multiple of these cars that you can go to and interact with.
Oh yeah, I remember spending a long time just blindly checking.
So we have to meet up with the guy and he gives us the hint where he is, which is like a photo. And that leads here.
So we now get a message from the florist. And then Katsuragi calls us conveniently.
Yeah, that he wants to meet up. So now back to the homeland, and I believe right after that we have the... We're gonna make the deal with the briefcase. Which there is supposed to be like, I don't know how long it is, 3 minutes walk and talk section. That on consoles you can't really skip through. But we found a way how to do that on a PC using funny methods around that. So the meetup point is in the front of the Millennium Tower. And so what we're gonna do is skip this cutscene, and before the next cutscene starts, I'm gonna unplug my controller. Then you alt tab from the game. Alt tab back in. Plug in the controller. And now you can skip the voice dialogues that are supposed to be voiced. It works just like that, for whatever reason.
It is very goofy, that is for sure.
They also end up like where they shouldn't end up, I believe. Yeah, just spin around because they have like no idea where they are going.
It may not seem like it because the text mashing is still slow, but you are mashing through text. And Tanimura can actually has to fight while holding the briefcase.
Yeah, the briefcase itself is actually a pretty good weapon, like the light attacks. So it isn't that big of a deal. Some of these enemies just straight up like can't like connect the hits though, for whatever reason. The heat attack with the steel briefcase, the heat attack with the steel briefcase is really bad though. So we never gonna. Okay. So we never wanna use that. We wanna use the heat actions on the ground though. That's pretty fast and does good damage. Now the briefcase is gonna be taken away from us. Sad. Okay.
Now we're back to a chase sequence.
And this chase sequence has to go to the rooftop, so we're just gonna. Okay, not. I'm just gonna try to damage him, or like do enough damage before he reaches the rooftop, which might be a little bit problem. Might be fine, who knows. Like the goal of that is we're gonna pick up the bottle now and try to throw it at him. And hopefully that's gonna end the chase.
Is it actually possible to one cycle before going up to the roofs?
No, it has to finish on the rooftop. Like he has a threshold of HP that you can't go past. This fight can go very badly. Because this guy has like a power armor and doesn't want to be hit for whatever reason. But this time it looks pretty fine. Okay. It's pretty good. tends to go way worse. Also, this game kind of differences like the heat actions. Like if you do a heat action second time, it does a less amount of damage than it does the first time. On harder difficulties, I believe it's even like worse. It does even less amount of damage than it is. But like stomping on him and kicking him while he's on the belly is like different heat actions with just small amounts of damage. This last fight is the worst one. So I believe I'm on a second set of the beds. I'm pretty good with beds, honestly, that's good. So I can use a little bit more here. That's why I said this fight is bad. Because he likes to block a lot. I need 2 beds for the finale, so, or like the final fight himself. That's bad. Man, mistake now. Okay. Now comes the best chapter in the run, by the way. Shoutouts to chapter 3. It's 2 minutes long. You go to the station and you go back to the homeland, and that's it.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. This is definitely a cutscene dump, much in the same way that Chapter 2 for Sajima was.
Yeah. But we don't even do a single fight in this one.
It puts you right next to the taxi, too.
Yeah. It's straight up to the prompt as well. So we have to find a specific documents for... I think it's the Millennium Tower explosion or something like that. In the events of the first game. No, this is actually the files for the Saejima hit. Yeah. Like the big plot point that the money is like... I don't even know how the reference is. Like the money from Yakuza 1 was supposed to go to the cops or something like that. Like that's gonna be shown at the Kiryu part.
Yeah, pretty much. That 10 billion yen was money laundered, which is what got Akiyama axed.
In this chapter we're gonna fight Sugiyuchi. Yay. There's a bunch of talking like before it. I believe we are supposed to get this silver briefcase back to its rightful owner, which is Akiyama. And then we're gonna go to the docks, talk to a bunch of guys, then like the real villain shows up, which is like the plan, I guess. And then we're gonna chase him on the boat, and there are some threats on the boat to make it faster. We'll see if we get that.
Yeah. Moshi. Ah. Moshi.
Yeah, so like their plan is like to make a setup.
Ah.
And time to go to the docks.
Yeah.
You can go to any taxi, but this one's closer.
This one is the closest. This time it doesn't even give you the confirmation prompt if you want to go to the docks. Like the first time in chapter 1.
Anyways, you meet this guy to get information, and then he got because Yakuza.
I wonder if he actually died or not, because like the whole thing was a setup, and they like never cared about him after this scene. I actually wonder if he died or not. Anyway, we're gonna try to get away from Sugiuchi. And not lose him like I just did, whatever. What we want to do is like get away from him and then just slam him right on with the boat. I'll do it a little safer this time. Nice. So the ram does like the most amount of damage you can do to him. You can also shoot his mortar, but it's just slow. Yeah, I got it second try, so whatever.
That was cool.
So start
Yes, it turns out this detective is corrupt.
yeah. The start of this fight is really like cool and stuff, but we're gonna fail this first QT because it's faster. We don't want to miss the second one though. And now bets time. He likes to get up a lot, but it still should be fine. Yeah, that was pretty much flawless.
Let's go. We love to see it.
Sadly my splits like
Anyways.
end on the chapter screens always, and even though you think you are saving a lot of time, there are like 6 cutscenes that you have to skip through.
And there you go. That's part 3. Now we got Kiryu. We're coming to the final stretch. So earlier it looked like Kamazaki got shot and fell in the water, and that was it. But now he's fine. He washed up on shore too, just several days later. And of course, he immediately is like, "Kiryu, please! The Tojo clan needs you!" And Kiryu is like, "No, bruh." And then he's like, "You should probably turn yourself back into the cops."
Nah.
Yeah, and Haruka is really protective of Kiryu because of what happened at the end of Yakuza 3 when he stabbed him.
Quite the opposite. I think everyone is the opposite because Shinada would never fight with a bat. But we already made the Slugger Majima joke earlier.
Yeah.
Anyway, it's time to go comfort Haruka because she's sad that this guy that tried to kill you was back.
Yeah, funny enough, with Shinada, if you pick up in one of the set pieces, there's a bat on the floor, and if you pick it up, he just looks at it and just puts it down again.
Yeah, he makes a comment. He's like, "This is a mighty fine bat," and then puts it down.
Nani? This is, by the way, the office from Yakuza 3 for whatever reason. And our old friend is back, yep.
Yeah, so, yeah. You get to fight Saito again, but this time it's Kiryu.
Yeah, this is
This
hella
time without
annoying.
anything that makes Saejima busted.
Yeah. So we're gonna try to throw these prison guards until we get a level up. We need double finishing blow and yes. Now it would be cool if Saito just got down. Because you can still chain the attacks, it's just way harder with Kiryu than we did with Saejima. Okay. That's why this fight sucks.
I wonder how this is New Game Plus when you have Tiger Drop.
I believe. I wonder, like, what the New Game Plus is, because you probably can get access to the Golden Gun, which is just busted. As an infinite ammunition.
Yeah, but you would still need to equip that. Doesn't help with this sequence, at least.
So we're just gonna shoot Sato, and this is gonna be way easier than in the part upstairs, because we can just chain him on the stairs once he gets down. This is bullying at its finest. They're just assets.
Can't believe Star Wars lied to me. Saito had the high ground, but who won? Yeah, it was Kiryu. Kiryu won.
Like Yakuza series uses a lot of assets throughout the games. I believe the generic heat actions, like the stomp on the ground, is still the same from the original Yakuza 1.
Speaking of reused assets, in 5, they use the same map and overworld from Dead Souls,
Yeah.
specifically. Like, if you go down the aisle where Gary's boot camp is, the sign is still there.
Even.
And now she's returned to Kamurocho because Kitty was like, hey, he returned. We're gonna go up to Serena, yeah.
Yeah, this is a recurring character that is on X-Cop and probably a bartender in this game.
Anyone remember when Date did more things than just babysit?
Me neither.
Yo, new hideout. Still gonna leave though.
No. So back in the dark ages on Yakuza 4 speedruns, we used to grab a gambling item right now, which was a 0 jewel. And after the fight in the next chapter, where we're gonna fight, spoiler, Akiyama and Tanimura, we used to do gambling, which was a 50% chance it would fail, as we would either bet on 0 or double zeros. So even with the gambling item, it wasn't like guaranteed. And yeah, that was 2 hours and 30 minutes in the run. Good old times. These days we just buy bets, because bets are much cheaper, so we don't need that much more money. So the gambling got routed out of the road.
I'm gonna be real, I had to look up what that was because I my brain was only gonna recognize if you'd said Black Leopard or Black Panther. But that I don't.
So we're gonna sell all the stuff we picked up, which is including the drinks.
That's so money.
So even though there are like 2 fights in this Kiryu, like coming up, we gonna use almost every single bet. Because there are just so many enemies. I hope this guy won't like trigger the fight. Okay. Wait, I forgot I have to go through the front and not from the back.
Yeah, this is Yakuza 4, not other games like 1 or 2.
It's kind of funny how many times they changed like the door placement in Serena Bar throughout the series. I believe in Kiwami or in O it's actually on like a completely different floor.
Wholesome.
Yeah, so this is kind of bad. So this part...
So she's running with some people and we get to chase.
Yeah, and this part is on like a very specific waypoints we have to pass through, otherwise it just doesn't progress. And they didn't despawn the fight spawns for this one, so if I just get really unlucky I can't do anything about it.
And now you can see she's running with someone. Someone in a blue jacket.
And now you can see red
Oh,
jacket.
someone in a blue jacket and a red jacket? Let's go. Children's Park. Oh my god, are our heroes about to meet up with each other? Hey, good thing the lid is already open.
Yeah, otherwise he would have like no way to get there.
Yeah.
言うね。
So, people in this series are really good at not talking.
覚悟はいいな。
So, even though Kiryu tried to talk, people are not good at listening, including Akiyama and Tanimura. But we get to fight both of them at once, which is the coolest set piece. We're still just gonna use bats, but...
And preferably gonna try to kill Tanimura first, as he's really annoying. Nice.
Yo, the back hits? You'll love to see it. And there's the fight.
Yeah, there's a really long field of heat for this one. And once one of them is down, it just doesn't trigger, which is really good.
And of course, Kiryu gets in there. Homegirl's already knocked out and taken, and shit's just everyone's laid out. And then finally, Tanimura and Akiyama catch up and are like, oh shit. Guess we shouldn't have wasted so much time fighting you. So much dialogue.
Yeah, there's also gonna be a voiced call.
And even though this is a dialogue matching sequence, you have to wait for this entire animation to play out.
So now Kiryu agrees to fight to the top of a... I'm not sure how the tower is called, but it's in the... Yeah, Kamurocho Hills.
Yeah, the fake tower.
Yeah, the fake Millennium Tower. I'm gonna take a taxi there, and hopefully not some place else. Because I believe I don't have enough money. I still have enough. And now this time it's gonna be unlocked. Compared to Saejima where it was just locked. Okay. So all of these
Time
guys...
to ignore everyone!
Well, we have to fight these guys, so... But I really wanna have them like grouped up and also use this guy's gun. Not you. Good swing. Just so it's fair that some enemy just also doesn't give a... when you're attacking him. Especially this guy. Cool.
Bro's built with power armor.
Yeah.
Bro's built like Saejima, for real, for real.
Well, you would say that fight was pretty annoying, but this next fight is way more annoying. So we're gonna have to beat the guy only in the orange jacket, but there are gonna be like 3 other guys with him, and they all like to grab a lot. And this guy just likes to punch a lot, so it's like this is like the worst room ever. Also guarding it. Okay. That wasn't that bad. Like, usually it goes way worse.
That guy said, fuck it, I'm out for now.
For now, yeah. So sadly we have to fight like most of the enemies in the series. Well, guess who's back? This time less annoying, though. Okay, that swing went well.
Yeah, absolutely love to see it.
We don't have to kill this guy, but he has a gun, so... That's my bad. You're gonna do that? Alright then. So this part sucks a lot because it's gonna spawn new waves depending on how many enemies you kill. And even though if I would be in like the mid-swing, it would just take away the charges, so that sucks when it happens. Something like that. I'm the one charging that. Oh, I ruined it. Whatever. Nice. Walked directly into that
Love
swing.
to see it.
Yeah. So again, we can ignore everyone, but it's just safer to kill this guy.
Yeah, this is supposed to be like a little maze to navigate through. Of course, it's pretty easy to navigate through. I think the real fun is trying to navigate through it to find every hidden corner.
Now the gun that we're gonna pick up. This time I'm gonna have to drop it here because I need to break this door. Can't open it like a normal person, have to literally destroy it. Okay. The bed management so far isn't that bad. There's only like 2 rooms left and then one, the big one. So we should be fine. Yeah, way better than the management I had in my practice, that's for sure.
Now we get to fight in the dark.
Yeah. There's also this guy that would be I really want to kill. I don't know. Okay, thank you. Alright, last floor coming up, and that's gonna be containing all of the mini bosses from the previous rooms.
They really know how to give you a Kuryu dungeon.
That's fine. Okay. I thought I'm gonna do the heat action, but I guess not. Oh. This is it then, I guess. Yay, and that's all the 4 characters complete. The only thing left is the grand finale.
Yeah. And at this point, you can genuinely switch between all the characters. And you could do all the sub-stories now, really, feasibly. This whole ending is literally just dependent on when you want to set the trap.
Yeah, the whole idea here is just to put a lot of money on the rooftop and see who's gonna show up. And once they show up, we're just gonna find them. That's like the whole thing here. A genius master plan. Especially the person who is gonna be fighting with Kiryu has like 0 place in my opinion. There, like it doesn't make a single sense.
And they came up with the plan.
Yeah, before
And
we,
now it just depends on when they want to do it.
yeah, before we wanna do that, I'm gonna distribute the bets a little bit better. So Saejima probably has the most of them. And he only needs like 3. One, 2, 3. Yeah, that should be fine. Tanimura probably has like 0. Okay, Akiyama also has a lot of bets. Yeah. So Tanimura needs like 5 of these. Oh. No, not the 2-1. Keep the 2-1. Okay. We'll see how it goes.
And now it's time. So, any One Piece fans?
ほう、すごいね。俺に初めて出会った時からその覇気があってくれりゃこんなことにはならなかっただろうに。
もう時計の針は戻らないんですよ。後悔しても始まらない。
ああ、来いよ。
行くぞー、秋山ありゃ
You probably all know the drill already. We're just gonna hit him with a bat. But preferably to the left. Otherwise he would get up. Or to the right, not to the left. Yeah, that sucks. I see a little bit of action, then that's fine. I forgot how long this is.
Yeah. They really make these heat sections in the final fights very grandiose.
Not the best line ever.
Anyways, of course, Sajima's got to take on Kido because Kido was a little bitch at one point.
極道のチャンスは一度きりだって俺は今感じるんです。今がまさにその瞬間だってことを。
そうか。なら俺がちゃんとお前の思い受け止めたるわ。
しっかりお願いしますよ。
ああ、手加減なし。死ぬかもしれへんけど文句言うんじゃない。ええな。はい。ほいや、起動。
Balls out, Kido.
So Kido has the ability to regenerate health And he has to do both of it before we can like kill him. Come on. I guess that kinda worked. So we're gonna do the bad heal action, cancel the heal. So that he's gonna do it second time, which is fine. Oh. Yeah, you actually want to fail this QT. If you get it. Okay. What I was trying to do is starting with like bad swings before before the QT, but I didn't land that in time. And now the most pointless fight out of these four.
You have to remember, Daigo's the Tojo chairman.
Yeah, he's supposed to be the good guy.
きっちり体で教えてやるぜ。
行くぞ、キリア！
And this fight usually goes really wrong. Because to keep him grounded is almost impossible. Yep. He's probably gonna get up after this swing. Yep. It's like really difficult. You want to hit him on the back of this. Even when we had guns in the road, this was like still a 50-50 if we would see it or not. Oh, both of them. That sometimes happens. Well, at least it's the atomic fist. It's the bro moment.
There's that.
Yeah, there's
And
one.
finally, for the real final boss.
それじゃあ現場捜査の時の感覚
Some
数十
politician.
年ぶりに味わってもらいましょうか
やれ、
Yeah,
こいつは早く殺せ。
they thought it's a really good idea for Tanimura to have this fight. Character that specializes in one-on-one
こ
fight
こで終わりだ
has to fight a bunch of cops.
Yeah. Taking out all these individual guys, big waste of time because they keep spawning. So we just want to like pretty much ignore them and just aim for Munakata. But of course, they're all trying to get in the way because that's what they get paid to do.
Yeah. But he's running away at least. That's also quite annoying.
And his health bar specifically is not that high, but what takes so long is all these guys getting in the way.
Yep.
And then Munakata also likes to shoot, so even if you were not aiming for him, it's still a problem.
Okay, that's one.
And
we have to finish the rest, and the time's gonna be once the zoom in starts. Like the fight's over thing. Maybe if I hit some of these. Like there are especially 3 guys here that has like a massive HP. Kinda running out of beds, but these final guys should be fine. Hopefully.
also, these guys are very good at dodging.
Yeah. Oh. That's my last bit. Thanks. Oh, it's gonna be interesting to finish this fight off without the bats. Well, for anyone that enjoys Animura combat, you have your portion. Yeah, time's gonna be on 1 cycle this last guy. So, time.
Nope. GG's, 10 out of 10 would recommend. Not necessarily speedrun, but just 10 out of 10 would recommend the game in general.
Recommend the series in general because it's a.
Yeah, I recommend the series in general. You could skip 6. I don't care about 6.
Anyway, yeah, if someone's interested in actually speedrunning this, we have a Discord server on the speedrun.com page on all of the games, I believe. And yeah, we have good resources and other things. So. Like some of these games don't have that much of a dialogue skipping that you've seen in the Yakuza 4, but like Kiwami 2 or 6 or 7 or the Judgment games. So yeah, it's a nice little speedrun or big speedrun, depending how you look at it. And it's gonna be from me. And last words. Also, thanks for joining me in the commentary. I've completely forgot about it.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I'd like to say shoutouts to Pandemonium, otherwise I probably wouldn't give a single shit about Yakuza speedrun.
Okay, and yeah, thank you so much, both of you, for hopping in here and putting on a good show. It's fun to see these kind of runs, and yeah, GG Vojtas on making the 22 hours 56:51, and also introducing myself to Yakuza speedruns, because this was the first one I've seen. Very interesting, very entertaining. But yeah, no, so we're going to be just about wrapped up here. One more chance to just plug where we're at with donations at the moment. We are currently sitting at $895, just $5 away from hitting 900. If we could do that, that would be incredible. So anybody who can chip in and help out, anything at all, would be massively appreciated. But for the time being, GG to you, Vojtas. Thank you to you, Seafood, for hopping on commentary. Any last things you want to say?
Holy shit, we're basically at triple the original goal.
Yeah. Alright, gamers, well, we'll be back shortly with Yarasu for his second run in the marathon, playing Rock Simulator, so get hyped for that. We won't be too much longer. See you all in a little bit. Say goodbye.